Well, a lot of people associate Miami just with South Beach. What new product, new areas are you developing, bringing online?
Gary, I'm glad you asked me that. I must have written that question down for you. Actually, we're becoming an area in the world known for culture. Culture. You know, we've got a new performing arts center downtown. We're building 2 new museums in downtown Miami, in Museum Park, the new Miami Art Museum and the new Miami Science Museum, right on the bay. We just opened last year at Frank Gehry designed New World Center on Miami Beach. So yes, you know, we're known for our nightlife, but not even an evolving cultural mecca. We have Art Basel in early December, which is the #1 contemporary art show in the world, and so that is growing. We have Art Miami, Design Miami, so there are more opportunities for visitors to do other things than the beach. Still got a great beach, we still got tremendous nightlife, great restaurants, great shopping, but now getting to be known for our cultural opportunities.
Similarly, a lot of visitors pass through the city just to go to the cruise port and onto the Caribbean. Are you doing anything to persuade them to stay in Miami?
Sure. You know, we're the cruise capital of the world. In fact, we've just trademarked that name, cruise capital of the world. We're adding 6 new ships in the next 8 weeks to Port Miami, which is right off of downtown. We have a very aggressive pre and post cruise program that is pretty successful. We're also working with our cruise partners to have Miami as a port of call in addition to the home port. So it's an important market. 6% of our 14 million visitors a year, their principal purpose of visit is a cruise. And we actually have on staff a cruise specialist, and it's an important part of our market.
And also we have at last now Brand USA, which markets in the entire country. Indeed, you're wearing the badge. How important is that going to be to Miami?
Well, it's critically important. Almost half of our visitors to Miami are international. It's the highest percentage of any place in the United States by a factor of 2. Since Brand USA, as the country's destination marketing organization, is going to sell foreign travel into the U.S., that's got Miami's name written all over it. So we were a founding partner. We were very aggressive, involved in having the legislation passed by the United States government. So it right now is my most important partner because they've got significant dollars to invest in promoting foreign travel. I know the UK was one of their first markets they entered, so we partnered with them on that, and that's very exciting. The U.S. has gone from the least amount of money any country spent, 0, now to being #1, and so that's very exciting for the U.S. to step up, as many countries in the world do, promote travel to their countries. Now the U.S. is getting on board with that, and it's about jobs in our country, and that's an important thing everywhere. So once again, we were involved in getting it set up. I proudly wear my Brand USA button, and we're here meeting with them, and the future is very exciting with the Brand USA program.
The only stumbling block, I guess, after this is the visa scenario.
Well, Gary, I'm glad you mentioned another softball question. You know, most of Europe is in the visa waiver program, and that's tremendous. The U.S. just added Taiwan, I think, as a 37th country. But there's not a single country in South America that's part of the visa waiver program. So we're working on a program. We're going to get the visa waiver for Brazil and Argentina. That's a separate track, but I can tell you we've had some success in the last year. A year ago, it took 102 days in Sao Paulo to get an interview time. That's 3.7 months. How in the world anybody would wait that long to visit the United States is beyond me. If you look at today on the internet, it's 2 days. So in 1 year, the processing time, the wait time for an interview has gone from 102 days to 2 days. That is real progress. So now Brazilians, in the case of Brazil on the visa waiver, in a couple of days can get a visa, and that's a lot of progress while we're waiting for a visa waiver, which will happen. But Europe, I think virtually every country in Europe is part of the visa waiver program. In fact, the visa waiver countries are the ones supplying the dollars, for the Brand USA program. So that's an important program.
You mentioned that Brazil, I believe, is now your biggest overseas market. In a few years' time, how do you see that changing at all with the emergence of the BRIC countries? I mean, do you think, given the visa situation becoming more lenient, are we going to see a lot of Chinese visitors, Russians in Florida?
Absolutely. In fact, we just started another softball question, Gary. We started air service last week from Moscow to Miami, and we're opening an office in Russia. There are a number of Russians who've made significant investments in Miami, and there's a portion of our community that has a number of Russians who fly back and forth, have bought homes, have bought condos, have bought businesses. But you talk about the BRICS. I mean, Brazil, Miami's been in Brazil longer than any other U.S. City. We've been there 22 years. 22 years. We're working the Russian market. China, we've just opened an office in partnership with Visit Florida in China. I just came back from China for the 3rd annual U.S.-China Tourism Summit. The attendance this year was double what it was last year. We just had a briefing. With the Visit USA folks here. China last year in the U.S., it was a 300% increase, and so it's steadily, it's in 5 years, China will be the #1 inbound country and outbound country for visitors. In 5 years. Now that's why we have an office in China. We're the only U.S. college. Our Florida International University, based in Miami, was hired by the Chinese government to train Chinese students in hospitality. It's a college in Tianjin, near Beijing. I'm a part of that advisory group. We go over every year or two and lecture, but those students, we have the China International Tourism Marketplace coming up within the next month in China. We take the students from our hospitality school in China, we put them in the booth. We're the only U.S. destination. They have been to Miami, they know the Miami product, and they're very proud to sell to the world and to the Chinese market, travel to Miami.
And finally, you mentioned selling Miami to the world. Is it a case that they think of Florida 1, Disney 2, and then Miami, or by itself?
Well, we would hope not. I mean, no.
But realistically?
Well, no. I think Miami has a special niche. We've turned into a luxury brand now. We turn into a luxury brand. So it's we've had many 5-star hotels built. We're a multicultural destination. We mentioned the new cultural opportunities. So yes, we're part of Florida. Yes, we're part of the U.S. But sometimes we say, come visit Miami. We're very close to the United States.